Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well today. So, we're back with Katawa Shoujo, if that wasn't plainly obvious. Alright, so, what happened the last time we went through this? Well, we finally met Shizune's dad. Not a fan of Jigoro at all. The dude is a grade A asshole. Not even seeing his daughter as being deaf as like something that cannot be corrected. He just thinks it's, oh, she wants nothing to do with me, so she refuses to talk to me, despite me spending so much money getting tutors to teach her how to speak. It's like, what a fucking ass. Ugh. We also finally got the letter from Iwanako in this route. And of all people, Kenji read it too. And we kind of learned something interesting about Kenji. He misses his ex-girlfriend as much as he says that she was crazy and insane. He still kind of missed her. He's also trying to, like, make us think about it, too. It's like, hey, dude, come on. She clearly wants to talk to you. She sent you a letter. She wants to talk to you, man. Write her back. Yeah, he's just kind of making us sort of think. I don't know. It's also Kenji, so we can't exactly take everything he says at face value. Well, we're going to continue on with Act 3 today, potentially finish Act 3, and get ourselves into Act 4. I hope that, yeah, damn it. I don't know, I forget where my camera is and what it actually encompasses. Wow, that is not a lot, okay. Yeah, okay. What the? OBS, don't do that. Don't do that to me. Alright. Let's load up our save and continue on. Wow. Oh, never mind. We are still in Act 3, so I'm not surprised the runtime's a little shorter. Plus, we skipped through a whole bunch of Act 1. So that wipes off a few hours on here as well. In class the next afternoon, I'm 2 problems into a math logic worksheet when a folded piece of paper hits me in the head. I'm sure I know who it's from, but I quickly look around the classroom anyway, just in case. No one in this classroom is as good as acting casual. I can tell that everyone saw who threw it at me, and looking at the culprit herself, it was obviously Shizune. She isn't even trying to be coy about it. The countryside is so different. At my old school, I would have no idea who it was right now. Opening up the note, it says, Misha's absent. Help me out today after school. I don't understand what's with the note. Why can't you just use sign language? A large part of how I learned sign language is by copying Misha's style of signing her words as she speaks, so I end up blurting the sentence out loud as I sign it to Shizune. A silent laugh goes around the room. How awkward. I'll help if I don't have a lot to do. Or have to do a lot. That's silly. Obviously, if Misha is absent, you have to help as much as 2 people. I don't know if that really means anything. After all, Misha was complaining yesterday mostly about how Shizune wouldn't let her help her. I don't do much as is either. After pretending to think it over for a bit, I write her a note back telling her I will. I'm actually happy that she asked me, because I've been meaning to talk to her for a while. It's a good opportunity, but I feel I should at least make it look like I'm putting up some resistance to the idea. I go back to my worksheet and immediately get stuck on the third problem. After trying to work around it, I casually toss my own note over to Shizune. It says... Also, I'm gonna move my cursor off there, just realized that. Why is Misha absent? And what's the answer to question 3? She told me she was sick and her stomach hurt. Misha gets stomach aches a lot, but I wish she'd pick a better time for it this week. Use sign language. I think she has a stomach ache because of the way she sucked down a parfait larger than her head the other day. If she gets them quite often, though, either it's a coincidence or she has a habit of eating things that can put her into debilitating pain. I notice the teacher staring at us disapprovingly. I don't blame him. We're talking in class, and with sign language, in quite a visible and distracting way. I try clearing my throat to back out of our conversation, but Shizune doesn't get the hint. Well, obviously. Before I try to get my message across again with my hands, however, I can see Shizune notices what's up. She just doesn't care. Do you still want to know the answer to question 3? I will tell you, but you have to give me the answer for question 25. Hey, I was just thinking about how the teacher who didn't know sign language could think we're abusing it and using it to cheat. If you were to assume the worst. I can't believe you're actually doing that. And I'm not up to 25. You wanted to know what the answer to 3 was. You asked first. Hypocrite. You're the student council president. You can't cheat. I don't have time for this, and I think I'm trying the teacher's patience to the breaking point. I'd like to continue taking pot shots at her while working on the math problems in front of me, but it would require at least 2 extra hands. Shizune is a bit more creative and gets around this limitation by using long, semi-broken strings of simpler words. I take a couple mental notes in between being dizzied by a couple of particularly long equations. Right before the bell rings, she caps her pen and triumphantly slams it on her desk with an ear-popping crack that makes the whole room jump. Quickly forgotten because everyone would rather go to lunch than question its origin. After a couple of brief stretches, she gets up and hovers around my left shoulder. Are you still not done? I was going to ask if you wanted me to hand in yours too while I was up. Someone distracted me. I had to beg the teacher to give me 9 minutes between now and the end of passing to finish it. It's not easy to solve this one-handed while you're having a conversation, by the way. He wasn't happy with the request, wanting to get out of here as much as I do. Since I'm only one problem away from finishing, it looks like Shizune doesn't really believe me. The second that I'm done handing it in, I find myself being dragged to the student council room. It's eerily and annoyingly clean. I can't find what I was working on yesterday. Where is everything? I did some cleaning. That doesn't tell me anything. See, it's like you forgot where you even put the stuff you put away. Oh well, if I can't find it, I guess I'll just go home. It's in the drawer right there. Shizune sulks as I pull out the posters I was working on, then shuffle them around a little, since she stacked them by color. It's not that I'm taunting her, I just have my own system, although I doubt she would believe me if I were to tell her. I like it when things are a little messy. It's more natural. And a time saver. It's all right where I left it. I don't have to go looking through shelves just to find what I was working on yesterday. Lazy. That's not true. I'm not lazy. You just always go too far. I quickly glance at her desk. A memo pad neatly placed at one corner. Behind it, a small desk calendar, with each box filled with notes in a neat but microscopic handwriting. On the right, 3 boxes of pens in blue, black, and red. Look, you even put the pens back in the original box at the end of each day, all color-coded and everything. I don't think that can even be called being a neat freak. What do you do with them? Throw them in a mug on your desk? Hey, I think that's being organized enough. You're so disorganized you can't even comb your hair down properly. That hurts. It's not like I don't try. It just won't stay flat. I pick up a box of pens and quickly pop it open to see if she also puts them in so they're all facing the same direction. She understands what I'm thinking and doesn't look very amused. It turns out the box wasn't closed properly on the bottom, and as soon as I pick it up, they immediately pour out of it like a waterfall. My fault. I'll get them, don't worry. I bent down to pick up the pens, forgetting that with her attention focused on them, she couldn't have possibly seen me signing to her. Shizune's head bumps into my chest. Not very hard, but it unbalances me and makes me fall over. Cannot speak today, as usual. I laugh it off and expect her to do the same. When she stiffens and backs away from me instead, a feeling of dread begins to creep over me. That was a weird reaction. I start to think about why she would have such a strange reaction. It's pretty obvious. She just bumped headfirst into someone with a heart condition. Shizune would know I have one, having seen the rows and rows of pills lining the edge of my dresser. Or at the very least, she would know I have something severe enough to require that much medication, but not visible at a glance. So she's treating me like I'm made of glass. For her, it's the natural way to react. I haven't forgotten how she freaked out back when Emmy knocked into me. Why would it be any different for her? I'm sure she's remembering that right now. I can see it on her face. She looks angry at herself. It would be a good opportunity to bring up that time. Even though I don't want to drag that back up, it would be a good idea to. It would clear the air. Still, I'm afraid, and end up saying nothing. Partly because I imagine having to draw her attention from the floor, and then having to sign what kind of cripple I am to her one gesture at a time. The idea begins to seem more and more depressing. Taking a seat, I decided to just try and finish up these posters, get my mind off of it. There's some I don't remember making. From the wall-to-wall text and ultra-neat handwriting, I can tell Shizune must have done these. That means that the remainder must have been done by Misha. They're a lot more visual, with cute little stylized pictures of us on them. I don't know how I feel about being used as a mascot character, but I'm not really thrilled by it. Come on, you couldn't give us chibi artwork of the 3 of them on a poster. I would have loved to have seen that. Some time passes, long enough for the sun to start setting. I hear Shizune putting down her pen and cracking her knuckles methodically, one at a time. It's so loud in the silence of the room that I look up, wondering if she's trying to get my attention. Although it wasn't what she intended, when she notices me looking at her, Shizune begins to sign without skipping a beat. Let's take a break. I'm surprised you would say that. It's okay. I'm almost done anyway. And I'm hungry. Aren't you? A little. I'm really hungry. We could order something. I was thinking of you. I already have something to eat. Where? She produces a cinnamon bun from under her desk, raising it to head level slowly like a magician levitating a rock. But... oh, for fuck's sakes. There is only one. Not enough for both of us. Ah, how dramatic. I can tell what this means. A feeling of déjà vu briefly washes over me. We could just split it. That's no fun. So boring. Let's play shogi for it. She already has the board out. That desk must have everything in it. Not chess? Chess has boring promotions. This is better. I don't know about that. Well, I'm actually pretty decent at shogi, so this is fine. Is that so? Okay, we can make it a little more interesting then. Each move has to be completed in 30 seconds. You can add a rule too. No thanks. Anything I could add would only hurt me more than it would help. 30-second time limit is already too tight for me. You're making me regret thinking it was alright to brag a little. After Shizune wins the right to go first in a quick coin toss, she immediately starts playing with the aim of promoting all of her pieces as soon as possible. Seems like a very basic playstyle, and I can't help thinking it might be a trap of some sort. It's not, though. The draw of this game to Shizune appears to be the fact that she can upgrade her pieces and steal mine. She's very good at it, but it makes her predictable. I end up doing a little better than I expected to. The 30-second time limit is pretty painful, though. The game ends in a draw. At this point, I think you're supposed to either go for a rematch or tally the pieces for points. Shizune doesn't want to go again in the interest of time, but winning on points clearly doesn't satisfy her. She sits there, shifting a silver general from one edge to the other as she contemplates which of those two options she'll go for. It takes so long that I think she's forgotten about the bet. Eventually, she stops fiddling with the shogi piece and puts it down. Is Misha angry at me? That really came out of nowhere. Shizune's frankness is disorienting, because with her, any kind of candor is a sign of total seriousness. There is no playful smile on her face. Instead, it's her usual stoic mask of concentration, ready to try and see if I'm about to tell her the truth. I'm upset that she thinks I would tell her anything else, but I also know now that they've probably fought recently, out of my sight, and it makes me feel warm to know they both care about each other so much. No, I strongly doubt it. Did you know she thinks you're angry at her? Shizune nods slowly and uncomfortably. Yes. She was more roundabout with the question than you. Kinda surprising, because I thought you were the one who liked playing games. Not all the time. Are you two having some kind of fight? No. She's very quick to deny it, and not happy with the thought. I feel like I stepped on a landmine. Sorry. Actually, yes. Just a tiny one. I know that she has no interest in the student council. She only joined because of me. I'm still grateful. I'm so happy she's my friend. But I don't understand what she's upset about this time. Why don't you just ask her? She won't tell me. I'll figure it out by myself instead. I was sure that I was very perceptive, even if I can't hear. That was dumb. I know better now. It is probably something that is my fault. Shizune doesn't elaborate further on what it could have been. I'm sure that it is because she does not fully understand the situation herself. It's odd to think that Shizune, usually so sure of everything, could be scared by a little argument with a friend. But the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. They're a lot closer to each other than normal friends, and Shizune is pretty isolated from other people in a way. The fact that she's deaf is no small part of it. I get the feeling that she uses Misha as a buffer between other people of her own will, not just because it's been forced onto her. She can communicate well enough with her little pad. She just hates it. After such a long time of talking through another person, I guess you start to lose touch. It seems unavoidable. It isn't such a far-out idea to think that she isn't that great with people. I return to working, kind of wanting to eat that cinnamon bun more as time drags on. But when I count the shogi pieces still left out on Shizune's table, I can tell at a glance she would win. I'm also too hungry to concentrate if we were to have a rematch. Motivated by my desire to wrap up and eat something, I put the finishing touches on the last of the posters. Done. I think this many is enough. Too many can be a bad thing. Okay. That's it? Just okay? I'll probably do some myself, after I'm done picking what voting format to go with. Too many posters is bad too. Haven't you ever heard of oversaturation? Saturation? What the hell, saturation? What the hell am I saying? I think I just made up a word there. Oversaturation. What the hell, oversaturation? What the fuck is wrong with me? I'm making up words now. Then again, as Thor would say, all words are made up. All words are made up words. I mean, look at Shakespeare. He made up a bunch of words that we still sort of use today. I really think you're trying too hard. Tenting her fingers, Shizune looks like she could almost admit it. Maybe. That's what Misha thinks too. I watch as her fingers continue uneasily twinning around and pulling at each other in a miniature tug-of-war. I don't mind, but I asked around in a couple classes today and interest is low. It's like you said, so... does that make it wrong? No, but... does kind of make it pointless. It's not. Yeah, but to who? I doubt even Shizune truly believes that. I'm not doing all this work just for my own ego. That isn't what I mean. The first chance to be alone with her in days, and I've already really cocked it up. Still, she doesn't actually look angry. It's more like she's frustrated that she can't express herself clearly enough. Since she's an expert in sign language, I wouldn't think that would be the case. I wonder what advantage being able to speak would offer her, and if she has ever thought about it. It's another project of mine. just like the festivals. I'm going to do it because it's my job. It's just that the student council election isn't as fun as a festival, so no one cares. She briefly touches her fingertips together, as if to say, but maybe. There is some truth to it, but Shizune doesn't want to say anything that can be boiled down into something so glib. But I don't care. I want to get people riled up, but it isn't about me. I don't want to be involved at all. What do you mean? You go to, like, every single festival. Shizune waves her hand in mock indignation. Well, I have to have fun too. But you know, it's not the same thing. Her spirits seem to have improved, if she can manage to crack a joke. I don't want anyone to make a point of me being involved. It's a hassle. I don't want that responsibility. Things are becoming too complicated now as is. The more I try to hype up the elections, the more involved I have to be. No one wants to play their hand yet, and it doesn't feel like my time is over, even though it should. Crossing her arms and leaning back, she grinds her teeth together in frustration. They're all so lazy. It's impossible to get them to do anything. Anywhere else, the elections would be an exciting event. It's illogical. Why does everyone have to be so different? If there was only some way to punish them. Like chaining the school to their desks. Voting is mandatory. If you don't vote, you get whipped. Shizune, calm the fuck down. Calm down. You're letting the kink to overtake you. Save that for the bedroom. Terrifying. I wonder how hypocritical it would be if I were to stay in bed on election day with the flu and a cold and strep throat and a sprained ankle. You should put yourself on one of those. One of these. Not as punishment. Don't misunderstand. I hold up one of Misha's posters. Like this. It's kind of a neat idea. Misha was onto something. It's a lot cuter than just text. I think you would like it. Having cute mascots will draw up some excitement. Maybe if it's just Misha. Why not me? Someone told me this school has slightly more girls than boys. You have to cater to that demographic too. Shizune giggles, audibly this time. I'm surprised. When she sees my face, so is she. Her face flushes pink, embarrassed to have let out a sound. Which is really confusing, to say the least. See, there we go. She can make noises. She does have functional vocal cords, she just doesn't use them. So the whole time, throughout this whole route, she's been silently laughing, which is a little weird. Like, she's just making all the actions of laughing, putting her hand over her mouth, and, like, you know, just what up her normal person. Like, no, stop saying normal. She is a normal person. Everyone is a normal person. Like what everybody else does. Or you just kind of like maybe shake there, maybe your shoulders kind of jump a little bit, you know what I mean, just the regular motions of laughing. She does all that without the sound, but right here, yeah, she can actually have some vocal aspect to it. She just never uses it. Which I think is kind of interesting. She is deaf, and it almost feels like she's mute by choice. She could speak if she wanted to, but she just doesn't. It makes communicating with people hard, and I believe, like Jen said, many people that are deaf or hard of hearing usually don't like the sound of their own voice. When it does, when it ends up, when at some point they could hear it, like if they get implants and whatnot, usually don't like the sound. So who knows? Maybe something like that with Shizune. She can also just kind of see it as she can also just be Shizune being stubborn. If I can't hear, why should I speak? Why should I make any kind of actual sound? That feels like a very Shizune thing. Why don't you put yourself on it? She just waves my question away. It's troublesome. What do you mean troublesome? Everyone knows that you're in the student council. My stomach growls, making me realize that I'm hungrier than I thought. Shizune uses the moment to deflect my question by changing the subject. Is something wrong? No, my stomach growled. I see. She looks at the forgotten pastry on her desk, then frowns, finding it inadequate for two people. Let's go to the Shanghai if you're hungry. It might be a little busy this late, but Yuko's working there today. We will definitely get a table. There's something worryingly underhanded in that smile. I'll pass. I've already been there twice this week, back to back. Shizune pouts, leaning back against her desk and scrunching up her posture in protest. What? I'm disappointed you said no. Well, I can't agree with you on everything. You don't give your opinion often enough anyway. It would be easiest for me if it was like that, but it's not very interesting, right? There's some decisions you should disagree with me on, then. You have a duty too. How am I supposed to know which is which? It's easy. No, it's not. Sometimes it's hard for me to tell whether you're joking or serious. Although, since she communicates entirely in sign language, that would seem pretty obvious. I wouldn't say that that's all there is to it, though. I remember when I had my heart attack, Iwanako wouldn't stop talking at first. Eventually, I wish she would just shut up. Or I would have if I'd been happy to have any kind of... Or I would have if I hadn't been happy to have any kind of company at all. Gradually, I stopped being so grateful. When we talked, it felt like it was nothing more than ritualized exchanges of politeness. Iwanako tried extremely hard to obfuscate. What? Alright, Google, my best friend.
Obfuscate.
Obfuscate? Okay, thank you, Google. Iwanako tried extremely hard to obfuscate how she felt, which was that I was hopeless. In the end, her outer behavior matched her inner feelings. For that reason, I was able to accept it when one day she stopped showing up. I was no longer surprised by the time it happened. Even though she considered herself a master at hiding her feelings, I was not surprised. I've heard that games like shogi and chess can tell you a lot about a person. I wish I knew what Shizune thought they said about me. Could be that I'm a little more like Iwanako than I'd like to think. If I can only tie with Shizune by retreating. I guess that we should order out. I suggest that we should order out. Jesus. So many words. Yeah, shocking. A visual novel has a lot of words. The next day, I walk up to my usual vending machine at lunch, only to find it's out of my favorite drink. Secreted so far from away from most of the classrooms, between the storeroom and the library, I think it's like no one knew about it. Damn it. Read, damn it, read! Read properly! I'd expected a vending machine so close to the library to be booming with customers. But then again, the library's empty most of the time, and anyone who goes there is only doing it to look for stuff to pad a paper with. No one stays there longer than they absolutely have to. For the past month, it's been working out in my favor, but the trade-off with the vending machine no one knows about is that it's never restocked. Settling for a can of orange soda, I decide on drinking it here instead of waiting until I get to the cafeteria, when the library door opens next to me. So yeah, just in general, anyone have that at the high school, college, or whatnot? Just that one vending machine that's just kind of seems like everyone's forgotten about? It's kind of an out-of-the-way place that barely anybody goes, so it usually has something that you want in it. They used to have one, yeah, nearby our gym. Just kind of had to enter a door that's separates the hallway from the rooms that go in, from the doors that go into the gym and the change rooms. There was two vending machines there, one for specifically drinks, one for specifically snacks. I liked it because it was always had something in it, especially stuff I wanted. I don't know how many people actually took notice that, hey, there are vending machines here. Because there were plenty of frickin' vending machines, just in the main cafeteria. You had to really go out of your way to go to these. Well, not really out of your way. The school was fairly small. I mean, if I'm looking at the cafeteria, I'd have to go to a hallway down to the left, and then the second right gets me to that vending machine. But no one really goes into that. No one really went to that wing of the school during cafeteria and lunchtime. The only time people go there was for classes, which that hallway was mostly offices, so classes didn't really happen. There was like one room being used for actual classes. Everything else was just office, 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 storage room. And then a gym. So no one really hung around in that part of the school, on that floor, because there was nothing there. Alright, a little tangent over, let's continue on. Uh, I've been looking for you. Yuko seems to be acting a lot more assertive than usual today, although it isn't enough to keep her from going back to mumbling immediately afterwards. Return your books, please. I mean, the library's books. The books you checked out are really overdue. Some of them are on waiting lists. Oops. I forgot. I kept checking out new ones, forgot to return the old ones. And Yuko let you? As far as I know, a library... Unless I'm just thinking something different. At least the libraries I go to, they won't let you check out one book until you return the other. That happens to me all the time at the university library. It's so embarrassing. Do they send someone to try to get you to bring them back? No. The university's library is bigger. They don't notice if I happen to borrow something longer than normal. It's convenient, because their policy on keeping the books too long is... really stricter than here. Jesus. Can't even read. Still. Oh, god damn it, Yuko. You try to be assertive, but you're still just a ball of anxiety. Like how despite what she said, Yuko has no problem with borrowing books for longer than she's supposed to anyway. It makes her being so on top of my own lateness a little hypocritical. And it takes a thief, I guess. Catching on to the meaning of her words around the same time I do, Yuko clams up and starts backpedaling furiously.
That's different from this situation. It's totally different.
Yuko stares at her nails for a second, as if she really wants to bite them, but is too self-conscious to do so.
For instance, how long it's been. You checked out some of those books months ago, Hisao. Sorry. It's just that other people want to read them too. If you're a slow reader, that's okay though.
No, it's a total screw-up on my part. To be honest, I haven't even read some of them. I shouldn't keep taking out books when I have a backlog. We've all been there. We've all been there. Well, I have a massive amount of things I still need to read and or watch. Let me get a whole bunch of more stuff to add on to that pile, and then proceed to watch or read the same things over again. Every time.
That's not good.
Yeah, it really isn't. Now I'm starting to copy her habit of trailing off quietly. Her awkwardness is very contagious for some reason. That said, I'm surprised. Yuko seems almost normal today, although every now and then her waitressy, nervous tics keep popping back up. Come to think of it, she didn't act this way when I first met her. She was a little clumsy and neurotic, but it wasn't anywhere near this severe until Shizune, Misha, and I ran into her at the Shanghai. Could be that Yuko has a complex about having kids from school seeing her waitressing. Maybe. Have to ask Jen about that later. I guess it was a little odd for her to pick the closest cafe to the school to work in then. In that case, maybe the place having so few customers could be considered a lucky break. Well, I get it. I'll return them right after school.
As soon as possible, please. Wait, can I ask you for one more thing?
Sure. What is it?
I have to go for a while, but I can't just leave the library empty. Sorry, but can I ask you to watch it while I'm gone? Just for a little bit. I'll be right back as soon as possible. You're the student council, so I'm sure if you did it, it would be okay.
Alright, I'll do it. Don't worry about...
Thank you!
Yuko quickly slides forward as if she's so grateful she's about to give me a hug, but she stops 2 centimeters into it, which ultimately just makes the gesture look extremely confusing. She wants to go and hug you, and the realist... Wait, no, this is weird, this is awkward. I am staff, you're a student, no. I'm also surprised she can control her momentum so well, since she seems kinda clumsy. Or I can say as much as, you're welcome. She's already dashing off with the urgency of someone late to an appointment. That could be the case, but I wouldn't feel safe assuming so. It's Yuko, and she seems like the kind of person to treat everything that way. Probably just has to go to the bathroom. Now that I'm in the library, I feel a bit silly. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. Should I sit down like I normally would and read? It probably would do, but wouldn't meet Yuko's high standards. Maybe I should sit at the librarian's desk and give anyone who comes in a stern and analytical glare. I use Shizune's as a starting point and practice it a couple of times in the mirrored surface of a pen. Bruh. Can you not use the reflection of your phone? Why a pen? Pens aren't that big. How? Pens are small and thin. What are you doing? Constantly rocking it, moving it up and down to see how your whole face looks? What? Asao confuses me sometimes. I think it looks pretty good. Frustratingly, no one comes in, so I give up on the idea quickly and decided to just go looking for Hanako instead. Why? You still barely know her. It's deserted. I think I see someone, but the second I blink, whoever it is gone. As soon as I return to Yuko's desk and crack open an interesting-looking book, a familiar person swings in front of me like a falling pendulum. Oh no. There's been so much Kenji in this damn route. Why? Why is there so much Kenji? Why is there so much Kenji in Shizune's route?
Yo, librarian. I've been looking for you for like 10 minutes. What?
It's you?
Man, you must really get around. Or the student council makes you get around. Those bitches! How could they? Slave drivers!
You must be exaggerating, because it took me 30 seconds just to do a slow walk around the whole place. I thought it was overridden, but I'm surprised to see him. Where did you come from? What are you doing here?
What? Can a guy go to the library now? I can't even go to the library without some young buck like you giving me the third degree over it. I see some girl coming in here all the time, and no one asks her what she's doing here. Is it because she reads and I don't?
He must be talking about Hanako. Although I suppose they both avoid people, I want to tell him that reading is what you usually do in a library. So if he's not reading, whatever he's doing is bound to make him look way more suspicious than her. In the end, though, I'm too surprised by him practically appearing out of thin air. That doesn't tell me what you're doing here.
I'm here because of you.
His response makes me feel confused. Maybe I fell asleep and this is all just some weird dream, and this Kenji isn't real, but really my subconscious. Is he gonna start giving me deep but vaguely worded advice now? Oh my god.
Because of you, I got chased out of my dorm by feminists. Now, I wander this library, like a soldier without a country, or a ghost. I should haunt you for ruining things for me.
It's a shame. It would have been an interesting dream, but it seems like this is the real deal.
Yeah, you had to start working with women, and that brought them to my door. You remember that? You should, since you were there. After that day, I knew they were onto me. I should have trusted my instincts, but I was young and stupid.
That wasn't even a week ago.
Then my dad called and said one of my letters hadn't been delivered. The post office couldn't have lost it, so it must have been intercepted. Information warfare! That's when I knew my secret hideout was compromised. Now I'm on the run. Like a fugitive. It's code red.
Dorm rooms aren't secret. They put your name and number on a board right in the doorway.
I know! I saw that! They're diabolical. Why just put up a big Wild West wanted poster if they're gonna be like that? Wanted, dead or alive. Probably alive, so they can clone me or turn me into a grasshopper.
Jumping without warning into the empty chair opposite me, Kenji takes out a cigarette and starts spinning it between his fingers. I've never seen him smoking before, so it must be for effect. Where did he even get it?
I can't even live where I want anymore. This is where it all begins. The tactical brilliance. I mean, once they're in your home, it's over, like termites. The feminist plan for dominance starts there. Where the fuck can we go? The only question is how they could take a page out of the termite playbook when women are naturally repelled by wood.
What? I'm sorry, what? Women are naturally repelled by what are you?
Wait. Okay, who the hell's you?
Okay, there. Yeah, that's it. That's the name. Yeah. Are women all Alan Scott Green Lantern? Can do whatever we want, but are totally, are weakened by wood? Died for a second there. Weird. But hey, reconnected real quick, so that's good. Don't know why it died. You can never go home again. Is that how the saying goes?
Man, I don't know about never. I was just there. I don't know anywhere else I can shower and get new clothes.
And eat and use the bathroom.
And watch TV. I have to keep watching the news to keep informed.
For someone ousted from his dorm room and living on the run, he sure has no qualms about going back there several times a day for long periods of time. Yeah, stream died for a minute. Weird. Very, very strange. But at least it came back very promptly. So I'm okay with that. But by now, he's slowly turned away from me and is talking to a revolving display of murder mysteries. There's really no point in interrupting him, I guess. I finish off my soda and throw the can into the basket near the door. It hits the rim, but goes in anyway. I silently pump my fist. Kenji quickly gets up and starts heading towards the door. I wasn't really paying attention. I hope I didn't fist pump at an inappropriate moment. Jesus. Where are you going?
You keep sucking down that juice.
So? It wasn't even juice. It was soda. And it's gone now. What do you mean sucking it down? I had 2 sips.
Yeah, right. You had like 50 million sips.
That's not even possible.
Maybe for you. I go beyond the impossible all the time.
Okay, whatever. Now I'm thirsty too. I'm gonna get my own juice. I'll be right back. He does come almost right back, so quickly that I suspect he knows about my secret vending machine. I got you one too. Hope you like grape juice. We're even for the pizza now. Thanks. I want to tell him that I lent nearly 10 times the cost of a can of grape juice. That might make me seem petty. Unopposed, Kenji sits down and starts furiously drinking juice like a man with a vendetta against grapes. Why did I say mad? I think my brain immediately said like a madman. I mean, Kenji is a madman. The dude is insane.
You know, it's a lucky break for me that I managed to run into you here, man. I kinda need you to do me a favor.
Although it's cynical, I wonder if him getting me juice was just so he could ask me for this favor. If so, it's very transparent and poorly timed. I doubt Kenji would think about something so deeply, though. Just asking for things straight out is more his style.
I need you to recommend me some books.
But I thought you didn't read. How did you know? You told me. You said you think people discriminate against you because you don't read. Well, they do. And I do read. I read audiobooks. Because that's the way of the future. I have to read a book a month for literary studies, though. And I found out that the school doesn't really accept such classics as advanced cryptography. Cryptography, I mean. If I don't read a bunch of books, they're gonna fail me. I can't fail literary studies. That would make me illiterate. That would mean my mom was right. My mom can't be right. I'd have to study literacy as much as possible. What about doing some extra credit? No thanks. It's bad enough I'm gonna have to carry around these stupid things now. He picks up a dictionary, flips through it, and places it on the murder mystery rack behind him. I can't believe this is actually the medium that our ancestors used to look at porn. I spit my drink all over the book I'm still holding, damaging it beyond any hope of repair. I quickly check the back and see its suggested retail price is 7,800 yen. Oh my god, $80 book. Rip wallet. I think I might have a heart attack. Wow, destroyed. Shouldn't have done that though. They take vandalism super seriously here. You're gonna get caned. Kinky. He chortles, amused, while taking an extremely long, loud sip from his can of juice. It's not vandalism. I didn't do it on purpose. You made me do it with your words. What do you mean caned? I don't want to be caned. Wait, chill out. I didn't mean they'd actually cane you. They'd just make you pay for it. And really, really yell at you. It's like they're gonna bite out. It's like you're gonna bite off my ass. Still, not that big of a deal. I don't care if it's figurative. I don't want to get caned or get my ass bitten off or any kind of punishment. You dumbass. What am I gonna do? I'm the only person in here that she knows of anyway. Can't even throw the book in the trash. It'll be found, and then she'll know. Damn, dude. Stop being so weird. How is it weird to not want to be fined? Man, stop flipping out. Man! I'm not flipping out. I'm trying to save money. So cheap. I'm about to strangle him when I hear Misha's wah-ha-ha coming up the hallway. Apparently, Kenji hears it too and uses the opportunity to quickly vanish behind the autobiography section. Like the wind. Yay. Misha.
Hi, Hee-chan!
Misha shouts exuberantly, dragging an embarrassed Yuko behind her.
Hee-chan! Were you talking to yourself?
On one hand, saying yes could make me look kinda crazy. On the other hand, if I blow Kenji's cover, he might go off and make me look crazy by association. Yes.
That's okay. Don't be embarrassed, Hee-chan. I do it too sometimes. When I'm alone. La la la.
Oh my god, Misha. How do you have so much energy?
Nothing happened while I was gone.
Absolutely nothing.
It smells like grapes.
I'm wearing grape-scented cologne. I lie brazenly and obviously. From her reaction, I'm gonna assume that she knows I'm lying or thinks I have an abysmal sense of colognes. Or sense for colognes. Since the can of grape juice I drank from was still right there, it's likely to be the former. Fortunately, she doesn't ask any follow-up questions. What are you two doing together?
We had lunch together. Strictly business. A business lunch.
Try to picture Misha in a suit, having a business lunch with anyone. Somehow, I just can't see it. What kind of business?
You don't know?
Okay, no sneeze.
It's nothing. Nothing. It's normal for one part of the student council to not know what the other is doing.
Hey, don't nothing something like that. That isn't normal at all. In fact, it's bad. We're only 3 people. Yuko laughs nervously. She must be terrified.
Misha says you want to put posters in the library for the elections. Even though they're really far away, I guess it's okay. I didn't know that I could even decide those kinds of things. You can! Isn't that great? Aren't you happy? Yay, yay!
Misha grabs Yuko's hands and forces her to clap joyously for herself. Yuko doesn't look very happy about learning that she has more responsibility and power than she'd previously thought.
Hee-chan, since you're here, you can help me put them up.
Pulling out a giant stack of posters from her bag, she cuts them in half like a deck of cards and passes me the slightly smushed half.
She-chan had a really good idea. We can put some flyers inside books too. Then, even if they try to ignore us, they won't be able to. They could even be spring-loaded.
No! Also, how do you know if they're gonna pick the books with the flyers in them? It could be 10 years. Someone finally picks that book and, oh, an election poster from 10 years ago. That would be just weird. Misha tries her best to convey the same tone Shizune used. It sounds close to the real thing, but also a little menacing. She was probably kidding.
I liked it. No, please. Not that.
Oh my god, Yuko, you have waterfalls for eyes right now.
A super ultra aggressive marketing blitz. We're gonna start going door to door too.
That's a terrible idea. Misha pouts in her best Shizune impression, fingertips tapping together rapidly in annoyance.
Hee-chan, you think every idea is terrible.
Yeah, but that idea is too terrible. Too terrible to ignore. I can't have that. Insert wahaha here.
Hee-chan, that sounds like a challenge. Mutiny! Mutiny! Mutiny is bad. Don't fight.
Insert wahaha here.
It was just a joke. Okay. Don't fight.
Jesus Christ. The way Yuko sounds when she's trying to be firm makes me think of a kindergarten teacher. I suppose it makes her very persuasive in her own way. Putting up the posters is surprisingly hard, simply because the library is already plastered with bulletin boards and flyers lining every couple of meters. Some of them in places so unlikely that I'd never noticed them before. Deciding which of them to peel off in favor of our own adds a lot of time to an otherwise simple job. By the time the bell rings to signal the end of lunch, Misha and I have a sizable amount of posters left. As we leave, I decide to stick one right by the door. Must be one that Misha did. It has a little drawing of Shizune on the bottom. A couple days later, Shizune heads off to go eat lunch by herself and doesn't come back. She must really be swamped with student council work, although I know that she probably made most of that work for herself. When I get to the student council room, I find the door unlocked. Before opening it, I hold back for a second to see if I'll hear Misha laughing through it. Nothing. I'd almost take that as a sign that no one's in, but Shizune wouldn't leave the door unlocked in that case. She's at her desk, sleeping in her chair with her arms folded over her chest. What a stiff pose. If it weren't for her eyes being closed, there'd be no way to tell that she was asleep. In fact, I can't even be sure that she's asleep now. Normally, I'd tap a desk to wake anyone else up. That wouldn't work with her. I immediately start thinking of tricks I could play on her if she's sleeping. It's disappointing that my train of thought goes in those kinds of directions.
Hello. Good afternoon.
She signs one greeting with each hand. I'm really confused. Oh no, sorry, it's really confusing. Jesus, why did I read that as I'm really confused? That's just me. Hey, what are you doing? Secretly slacking off? Shizune smiles, but lowers her head to conceal it, and tries her best to look annoyed instead.
Don't just stand there. It makes me nervous I'm sitting down and you're not.
I take a seat in the nearest chair while Shizune pauses to adjust her glasses on the bridge of her nose, like she's fine-tuning an instrument.
Why are you so far away?
Does that make you nervous too? Pursing her lips, Shizune doesn't look too amused at my taunting her. I had some free time, so I thought I'd drop by and see if you were still busy.
Do you want to help me?
Yeah.
Too bad. I'm grateful, but it's not necessary. I just finished the last of it, and now everything that's needed to be done is done.
So formal. Misha was just as businesslike yesterday. Are you both getting serious for official student council business?
I'm always serious. Like the student council candidate should be.
That was fast. From zero to immediately criticizing people who aren't even her colleagues yet before I had the chance to stretch my legs.
At least the presidents. They need initiative, then maybe they can motivate everyone else. Or at least strong-arm them along. But even though there's a bunch of them, they're also wishy-washy. There's no one running for vice president, so they all want the big prize, but none of them have the right drive for it. And then the treasurers are always so flaky. They've decided to use my power just to eliminate the position.
I've decided to use my power to eliminate the position. Wait a sec, please. Can you even do that? I don't think it works that way.
It is how it is.
With that, Shizune stares grimly into the distance, rubbing the frame of her glasses. That doesn't answer the question, future dictator.
I'm disappointed. They should want me out here faster because they want the job. Or at least disagree with me having the job. If I can't immobilize a bunch of student council wannabes for either reason, my work will have been for nothing. If they're going to be so slow about it, I'll just hold on to my office as long as possible.
Shizune punctuates the sentence with a snap of her fingers, creating a sound as sharp as a gunshot. I wonder if she knows how loud she can do that. It's definitely an attention grabber, so I could only see it as invaluable to a mute. She might have practiced it because of that. All of it, huh? That's too harsh.
I always thought this is the real test. Leaving a lasting impression is important. It's why I don't build sandcastles. They crumble when you leave.
Maybe. But if I see an especially neat one, I still think it's impressive. I'll say it's impressive. I kind of admire you. So, to me, it wasn't for nothing. She tugs at her glasses as if she wants to take them off, smiling wryly.
Sorry. I was careless and something selfish slipped out. I've always wanted to stand at the top. It didn't matter what it was, as long as I was the best at it, and understood completely, and made it my own. Like when you hear a song and dream of being a musician, or see a plane and wish you could be a pilot. Have you ever had a dream like that?
Yeah. First time I played soccer, I wonder if maybe I could ever get good enough to wow people. That was just a fantasy, though. As soon as I saw the gap between me and the people with real talent, I put those dreams behind me. Well, with my heart the way it is, I can't play soccer anymore anyway. Do you still have dreams like that?
No, they're unrealistic. I realized it very quickly. There is always someone better.
A nostalgic expression crosses her face. She looks oddly mature right now, as if the days of competing vigorously against others for supremacy are long behind her. Of course, I know that nothing could be further from the truth. Just last week, she wanted to see which of us could blow the biggest bubble with a piece of gum. It could be that she was even worse when she was younger. Terrifying thought. Everything is a competition. Everything is a game to Shizune.
I like that. That there was always someone better. When someone greater than me would appear, I'd get so excited. I'd want to challenge them. Even though in the end, they would usually turn out to be better, and I would be left in awe. There are some people who are on a different level, completely. After a while, I got jealous. I wanted something like that for myself.
Is that what the student council is? The thing just for you?
No. Even though it feels like that sometimes, that wasn't why I decided to do it. That is another story entirely. But I like being student council president. Even if the work is hard and I'm always biting off more than I can chew, that is what keeps it exciting. People at the top shouldn't be able to be comfortable all the time anyway.
You sound like a farmer. Although they wouldn't suit her, Shizune would look cute in overalls and a straw hat. So if that wasn't the reason, why did you run for the job?
I didn't, but afterwards, I decided to stick with it anyway. I wanted to be the student council president because the old student council was stupid. And I wanted to stir people up so they'll be able to say, that was interesting. Today was interesting. That kind of thing. Memorable experiences. I'm happy because I think we succeeded. You and me, you and Misha and me. Jesus.
I swapped the order. I like how she also puts herself last in that list, not saying me, you, and Misha. She puts me first, then her best friend, and then herself. I don't know if that was a deliberate choice on the writer's part or not. I almost feel like it is, because she probably realizes on her own she wouldn't be able to do too much. Hey, Mass. Then go back to sleep, man.
I have a selfish desire too, though. At first it was something I thought would only be a nice bonus, but I've gotten greedy. That is why it would make me happy if the elections go smoothly. It would be the only way that I could see that my wish was granted.
What is it then?
It's a secret.
Sensing that I might not be ready to let such a weak dodge slide so easily, Shizune quickly waves down any attempt at a follow-up, embarrassment coloring her face. It's something she wants to keep to herself only because it's too silly to do otherwise. I start to feel a pang of hunger and check my watch. It's earlier than it looks. Too early for dinner. Do you have any kind of food in your desk? For a second, it looks like the question confuses her, but she quickly recovers.
Desks are for supplies.
Food is supplies.
You should have eaten lunch.
I didn't think it would be a problem if I didn't. If I was working, I wouldn't have to think about it. I'd be too busy to be hungry. She puts her hand up to her mouth in a poor attempt to conceal a laugh, and tries to hide it further by pretending to use it to push her glasses further up the bridge of her nose. I guess you're not, since you already ate. I'm not good enough to sign the appropriate words, so I settle for pointing at the stack of Chinese food containers leaning precariously out of the top of her trash can.
Those are from yesterday.
Then we're both hungry. Let's get something to eat. Not from the cafeteria. There wasn't anything good at lunch, so I really doubt there'll be anything good left over. Order something?
Ordering out 2 days in a row is unnatural. Only in case of emergencies. That is my personal policy.
This is why she should think of putting some snacks in her desk. It'd be an easier way of dealing with these kinds of emergencies. I want to tell her, but signing out how hungry I am like 5 times is maybe too tired to be a smartass. The temptation is great, though.
In comes Misha again. Hi! Hi!
Misha's distinctive up and down voice sounds muffled through the door. She bursts in a second later.
Hee-chan! You're here too!
Two? How'd you know there was already someone in here?
If it opens, someone is inside. Insert wahaha here. Am I interrupting?
Shizune shakes her head.
Great! That's really great. But I was sure I would be. Is this a break?
I thought so too, but it turns out everything student council related is over. For now. Is that why you're here? Insert wahaha here.
Yeah, that's right, Hee-chan. Sorry to disappoint you. We were just discussing whether or not to order out for dinner. That sounds fun.
Shizune isn't being very fun about it, though. She says that she can't order food 2 days in a row. Are you hungry too? Because if you are, we could outvote her.
That sounds fun, Hee-chan. And I am a little hungry.
I thought you'd say it sounds like mutiny. Shizune pinches the frame of her glasses, clearly thinking that it does seem like mutiny, but being outvoted by a clean 2-to-1 margin, there's nothing she can do. Misha already has her phone out. It's awfully garish. Garish, whatever.
Shi-chan, you promised we'd have a student council thing, just for us, right? Right! This can be it!
Shizune only shakes her head. Last party she'll be able to attend as Yamaku's student council president is too special for her to put that label on our spur-of-the-moment early dinner. Even though I'm sure the real thing will be just like this, a meal like any other with the three of us. After we finish eating and clean up, I say goodbye to them and head to my dorm. Although I don't feel particularly tired, I think I'll just go straight to sleep tonight. If I were back home, my mom would nag me not to go to bed right after eating, but what she doesn't know won't hurt her. Take a look at the clock as soon as I get in, and realize it's a lot later than I thought. It also feels a bit silly checking the clock when I have a phone and a wristwatch. I take off my watch and hold it in one hand while holding my phone in the other. It makes me feel powerful and stupid. I try unsuccessfully to go to sleep, and I'm glad when someone interrupts me by knocking on my door after only a few minutes. I figure it could be anyone, but it couldn't be anyone but Kenji, which is why I'm surprised when it ends up being Misha.
Hi, Hee-chan! You don't look happy to see me.
No, I'm just kind of surprised. Did Shizune remember something that she wants me to do after all? It's late, but whatever. I guess it's good that I didn't change.
Nope. I just thought I'd follow you back, Hee-chan.
For fun? No, of course not. It's because she wants to talk. Must be about something important and something she doesn't want Shizune to know about. Do you want to come in?
Yeah! Thanks, Hee-chan.
She walks in and immediately takes a seat in the chair. A natural thing to do, but I'd expected her to sit on the bed.
Hee-chan.
Misha frowns harshly, arms folded over her chest. It's like she's trying to play a grim interrogator. All that's missing is the mustache and the dangling, flickering light bulb on a string.
Did you make Shi-chan sad?
What do you mean?
When I went to the office today, Shi-chan couldn't hear me coming. That's why, when I opened the door, I saw a really confusing expression on her face. Shi-chan looked happy and sad, and I wanted to know why.
Well, it wasn't because of me. I didn't even see it. I think she's depressed she won't be the student council president anymore in a few months.
When I asked Shi-chan about it, she said that it was okay.
That's meaningless. Shizune would say that, but it's ridiculous to think she would let it go that easily. I mean, there are times she'll fight me over the last apple, or chocolate milk, or whatever. That is stuff that doesn't even matter.
Chocolate milk is important.
Okay, it is. Don't get mad. Not as much as the student council is to her. She wouldn't just wave it off so easily. Insert wahaha here.
You're right.
I thought this was supposed to be an interrogation, but it appears Misha has already forgotten about it.
But I don't want Shi-chan to lie to me to make her feel better. Most people don't know how serious Shi-chan is and think she's just putting on a show. I'm happy you understand her, Hee-chan.
It's obvious. Especially with how she talked about it today. Misha leans in closer with interest, resting her head on her palms.
Really? What did she say?
They're close enough. I don't think much of how she. I don't. Yeah. They're close enough. I don't think how much of how she is prying. Why she joined the student council? Sort of. She started, but then decided that some stuff should just stay classified. And signed, "It's a secret." So I guess that's what she told me. It's a secret.
Well, if someone tells you they have a secret, you can sort of call that a secret by itself, Hee-chan.
Just like how, according to you, luck is a skill?
It can be.
Insert wahaha here. Careful, not so loud.
Why, Hee-chan?
You're gonna wake up half the people in the building. On top of that, dorms aren't co-ed.
Hee-chan, are you thinking something dirty?
Stop being weird.
If you are, it's okay, I think.
Hearing that makes me realize how easy it's been for me to talk to Misha all this time. That I'd be able to go this long without feeling the need to be on guard. This is the first time I have.
I feel sad, Hee-chan. It's funny. The happier Shi-chan gets, the more depressed I feel. Even though I should be happy for Shi-chan. I still am, but I can't talk about my problems with her.
Why not?
Just like Shi-chan can't talk about her problems to me, it's the same thing, Hee-chan. If we have that kind of problem, then I'm not sure anymore what I should do. I wonder if I'm a bad friend.
Misha gets up and quickly drops herself onto the bed until we're sitting only a few inches apart. Just a couple seconds later, she pushes her head forward and gives me a light kiss. It misses my lips, more due to bad aim on her part than because of me. What are you doing? Although it's just a formality, I'd be stupid to not know what she's getting at. It's just that it seems so unlikely that I'm hoping there'll be some way I won't have to deal with it. Now she decides to be shy and giggles embarrassed.
Do you like me, Hee-chan?
Yeah? Her head is buried in my chest. Feels like she's talking to my scar. She might be able to feel it brushing against her cheek. Tried too hard to hide it from both of them before. Seems like such a dumb thing to worry about so much in retrospect.
Please comfort me, Hee-chan. Just for today.
Oh! Good lord. Good lord, oh my god. No. Yeah, yeah. Comfort Misha or refuse? Unfortunately, comfort has a different meaning in this case. Okay. Sorry, Misha, but no. Before I can answer, she pushes her whole weight against me and then unbalances me enough to send us both onto the bed. If I don't answer quickly, then the situation will become more precarious. I know that I should never let things get as tangled as they already are. So even though it isn't the most tactful way to refuse her, I push her off of me. Misha falls backwards onto the sheets, so softly that it seems like she barely fell at all. Eyes closed, she stays like that for a while before getting up with a hollow laugh.
You're right, He-chan. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure how I feel. Regretful, slightly, even though I've grown to hate regret. Sad, for a multitude of reasons. I'm also a little angry, both at her and at myself. And in a way, it even seems like I'm not really feeling it all. Don't be.
No, He-chan. It's okay. I am. Really, really. But just asking was enough for me, I think. I'm happier that you said no.
Is that right? Well, that's good.
Yeah, it is. Thanks, He-chan.
She pulls herself up and leans against the wall. I'm assuming she is. My head hurts so much that I don't bother opening my eyes. I lay on my bed, listening to the rustle of her hair brushing against the sheets and the grass waving in the wind outside. I guess I should say more to reassure her, but I wonder if that would really help. Maybe it'd be better to say nothing. I just don't know. Although I think that in this situation, there's no one right thing I can do.
Good night, He-chan.
With that, she leaves, the door clicking shut behind her like a guilty whisper. Maybe it's because I'm eager to put today behind me, but after Misha is gone, I find it much easier to fall asleep. I do so almost instantly. Following morning, I wake up thinking that most of my time is going to be spent trying to avoid Shizune and Misha. What happened last evening still makes me feel uneasy. I thought that sleeping on it would help alleviate that feeling. I feel like an idiot for believing it would be that easy. I think about whether or not Misha might feel the same way. If so, she probably won't show up to school today. I'd considered doing the same, but it'd be pretty suspicious, and staying inside all day in fear doesn't appeal to me. It never really has. Like I thought, Misha isn't in class this morning. Shizune is, but today is a busier day than most, so she gives her all concentrating on her classwork. And that means there's little idle time for her to start up a conversation with me. I'd grown so used to seeing Shizune and Misha together that I hadn't realized until yesterday how much that hasn't been the case lately. And it's a shame, because the empty seat next to her reminds me that they're a pair. So, yesterday is something I'll take to my grave. If I feel this way about it, I wonder how Misha must feel. Just as regretful? When she came on to me, she was more depressed than sexy to start with. I can only imagine how much worse it would be now. Thinking about it like that, I want to see her again. But only half-heartedly. The other half of me is still terrified, even though I hate to use that word. It makes me feel ashamed, but I'm sure it's the only way to describe myself right now. I spend the next couple of periods in the library, not in the mood to sit in classes for the rest of the day, but unwilling to walk back to the dorms. While I'm lazily flipping through the pages of an uninteresting historical fiction novel, Shizune drops herself in the chair across from me, pouting. I think it's sort of pointless to come to school then skip every class. Sorry. At least tell everyone that you're sick. I'm just not feeling it today. Yesterday I was fine, though. Tomorrow I'll probably be fine. Taking a sick day in the middle of the week is just too suspicious. The 24-hour flu thing or whatever won't fly. It's not suspicious. It is. I turn back to my book, but Shizune gently pulls it down, in contrast with her expression, which straddles the line between concern and anger. Is something wrong? What? Is something bothering you? Because you're acting a little suspicious today, in a different way. If there is, just tell me, or I'll be mad. I'm not good at reading people. What a ridiculous thing to say after picking up my mood so easily. She is only half kidding, but there's some truth in it. After all, she can't hear tone and has to rely on reading to communicate with others. It's as if you can only ever have conversation with someone through text messages. That has to mess with you in some way. It's probably why she stares so intently at people, in order to gauge their reaction. Or maybe it's why she pushes people so hard, to get them to react. I've thought about it before, but it's too hard to say for sure what Shizune's exact motivations are for anything. So, I wonder how much of that was a joke. Sometimes it's easy to tell. This time, it isn't. Assuming it wasn't a joke, I can't tell her anyway. Because it's sign language, there's enough time to collect myself and lie effectively. Nothing. She ain't buying it, dipshit. Just been thinking a lot about the student council's future lately. I believe Misha's doing the same. Well, in her own way.
So am I, but she isn't here today. I wish you would have let me know something, because I might need her help later today. Yours too, unless you're busy.
I'm not.
Thank you. I feel like I'm losing a lot of people close to me lately.
I can't think of a good way to respond to that. Something reassuring and confident, telling her not to worry. I'm here for you. I'm not one of those people. Then, who is? And it seems so forced. I managed to wave my hand that seems extremely callous as soon as I do it. You shouldn't feel that way. I might just be a little sick. Not enough to go through the trouble of making it official. It's just easier for me this way.
It's the wrong way.
I've heard that the hard way and the right way are usually the same thing, so it's not a big stretch to say that the opposite is true.
Well, fine. If you say you're alright, that's good enough for me.
Wait. You asked me, so I'm turning it around. Is everything okay with you?
Yes.
She signs it without a moment's hesitation. After that, Shizune waits to see if I'm going to follow up on it. I don't, and she leaves. I feel like an idiot for not going further, even though I think it's better that I didn't. I've been in the library for quite a while, and had to go up to the roof for a change of pace. No one's mentioned volume issues. You can't hear me? Are you sure it's not your end? It's just me you can't hear? Were you able to hear the music just now? Because I didn't change any of my audio settings. They're all still the same. I'm showing up as speaking into my mic. I'm hoping it's not that your headphones are broken again. Wait. I am speaking now. I am speaking. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I am talking, talking, talking. Bit better? Was it a thing on your end? Okay. Okay. You had me worried there for a second. Also, how you doing, Jen? Computer changed the default right after we finished teaching. What the hell? Don't feel well and this class is annoying? I'm sorry to hear. It's fine, it's a job. I'm doing okay. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Just kind of catch you up on things that have happened. Only have the next 20 minutes. I'm probably going to end in 20 minutes anyway, so that works out. Because I'm actually getting hungry. Just to kind of briefly catch you up on what the heck ski is going on so far. Shizune's really pushing for us to get prepared for the student council elections. It seems like there's a rift kind of forming between Shizune and Misha, and we're kind of like there in the middle. Shizune is also kind of showing signs that she is kind of dreading the end of the year coming, because then she has to give up the student council president job. Because it's something that she actually really likes. So she's trying her best not to show it, as the little video predicted. Oh yeah. Oh, and also something you just missed. Misha came to our room and tried coming onto us. We shut that down, but then she said she's actually happy we said no. Because we had a choice to either, if we had the good old choice of comfort Misha or refuse. And, well, since we refused and she was trying to come on to us, clearly comfort meant banger. So, Misha is very obviously going through something. She didn't even show up to school for this day because we're assuming because of what happened the last night. I didn't save it because I'd rather not. A fresh breeze hits me the second I open the door. This is really my favorite area of the school, I think. Then I see I'm not the only one here. I can see a girl with bubblegum pink hair in front of me. Her back is to me, but I don't have to see her face to know who it is. Don't want to collect all the endings? I can go through later and get it. I would just rather not do specific endings. Okay? I'd rather not do specific endings if I have the power to control that. And of all the choices in Shizune's route, that's the only one that I know we get. And so, do you want good ending or bad ending? That's basically what that entire choice was. This game's already can already be hard enough on me as is. I'm already dreading one ending. I don't want to go through another ending I have no idea that happens in. Yeah. Sure, Misha is the only person in the world with hair like that. There's a lot of people with bubblegum pink hair, buddy. I get the feeling that I've stumbled on her at a bad moment. She obviously wants to be alone, and I wonder if she hasn't noticed my presence. If so, I'll leave right now. But she has, and turns to face me.
Oh, He-chan. I thought someone was behind me, but I didn't think it was going to be you. This time, you surprised me.
If she's referring to her habit of sneaking up behind me and asking me to guess who it is, I have never been surprised by that. I'm surprised too, but this is good. I had something I wanted to talk to you about anyway. Not that. What's going on between you and Shizune? She won't tell me, so I'm asking you. Because you're easier to get an answer out of, since the same sign language that gives me the leeway to lie to her gives her a cushion against my questions, so that she can more easily brush them off. When she hesitates, I push her harder. Give me an honest answer, please.
It's complicated, He-chan. It's because of something that happened a long time ago. I thought I could forget about it, but it's really hard. So, that and graduation coming up made me want to spend more time with Shi-chan. But Shi-chan is always busy now. So, we've been fighting. But I'm tired of it now. Because I like Shi-chan.
So do I. Insert wahaha here.
No. I know you like her, He-chan. I meant that I like Shi-chan in the same way. I want her to be my girlfriend.
And that is why there is not a Misha route. That right there is why there is no Misha route. She has no interest in us at all. Not even the same gender. She's not have anything for the male gender at all. She wants Shizune. Misha closes her eyes, like a condemned criminal confessing the last of their sins in front of an executioner. It only makes it harder for me to think of a response, and I know I have to give one. Yeah, I think she explains why she was trying to... I think she's gonna explain why she's trying to do that into this. I see. I never knew.
I didn't really want to come to the school, He-chan, but it sounded interesting. And even if everyone hated me, at least it felt like they would leave me alone. I was learning sign language, but wasn't very good at it. Shi-chan was trying to get people to join the student council, because it was only her and Lily. Then she came up to me. I couldn't understand her at all. But Shi-chan wouldn't use her pen and paper. She knew that I was taking sign language classes. I was exposed quickly. I didn't know any. That only made her try harder. And I hated Shi-chan. I thought she was making fun of me. That wasn't the reason, though. So, I slowly fell in love with Shi-chan. And told her that I loved her.
Back when Misha had brown hair.
It was in the student council room, you know? When it was just the two of us. I had these fantasies of Shish-chan staying alone in the office, trying to put everything together by herself. It seemed so lonely to me, and so sad. I think I wanted it to be that way. That way, I could be there for Shi-chan, and maybe Shi-chan would like me. Even though there was no reason for me to believe it, I did anyway. I wanted it to be true, so I was okay with letting myself believe it, even though I think I knew. That day was really, really beautiful too, He-chan. We were done with everything, and I was looking out through the window. Even through the window, the light was so warm. I wanted to stay like that forever, next to Shi-chan. But then I looked at Shi-chan, and she had her back to the window and was still working on something, blocking out the rest of the world. The light was on her shoulders, like when I would put a blanket on her shoulders as a little kid. Blanket on my shoulders, sorry.
Misha stops for a second, as if trying to hold on to the image of Shizune in her mind.
Shi-chan looked... It was like Shi-chan looked in a way that made me want to be with her. But it felt like it would be hard for that to happen.
Insert wahaha here.
That was a really long time ago. My hair was different back then, too. A little messy. I cut it because Shi-chan was always talking about it. Anyway, I told her right then and there. I confessed. I was rejected. So, I thought that was it, He-chan. But Shi-chan was always trying to find me, and I hated Shi-chan again for it. And then when I asked her why she was doing it, it was because I was her friend.
Her cheeks have a hint of red in them. I wonder how much experience she has had with crying, as she can keep herself from doing it so well. If she didn't pause to wipe her eyes, I might never have noticed.
Having Shi-chan say that made me happy, but also sad. And even though she never meant to hurt me, it still hurts. Even now. Shi-chan has a way of manipulating people, He-chan. Sometimes she wants to, and sometimes she doesn't really, but it happens anyway. And sometimes I'm just not sure exactly which one it is. And I feel doubt. I just wish that Shi-chan liked me instead of you. It made me wonder if I was starting to hate you and Shi-chan. Just a little. I didn't like that.
So you were thinking maybe it'd be better if I weren't here at all? She looks confused. The thought has never crossed her mind.
It's not that, He-chan. I thought about it a lot these past few days, and I don't want to hate anyone. You or Shi-chan. It's so stupid that I ever felt like that, isn't it, He-chan? I don't want to think about that kind of stuff ever again. And missing people and being apart from them? I'm tired of it, and I don't want to think about it anymore. I already did, though. So, I'm still really the worst kind of person. I wasn't thinking that it would be better if He-chan had never come to this school. I was thinking, wouldn't it be better if I just died?
Misha presses herself harder against the fence at her back, as if hoping to slip through it. Without really thinking about it, I grab her hand. My reflexes are terrible, and I manage to only grasp onto a few of her fingers, but it's unimportant. sorry. It's just that you said something pretty weird just now.
Yeah, I guess that's right, He-chan.
Yeah. Do you want to know what I think? Shizune's the type of person who won't let anyone close to her except on her terms. And it's frustrating. Sometimes it's even infuriating. Yeah. Beta Shizune route, Misha kind of goes through with it at one point. She just steps into traffic. Yeah, Shizune's route had a massive rewrite. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And I mean massive rewrite. That probably would have bothered me when I was in the hospital and anyone who shut me out was dead to me. I'd forgotten all about it until recently. I got a letter, and it was all about that. I was mad, I thought. How can you accuse me of closing myself off from everyone and giving up? Isn't that what everyone else did to me? What else am I supposed to do? What can I do? Yeah, even now, I know that's how it happened, but she was right too. I did close myself off. So I made up my mind that I'm not going to let that be the case ever again.
The hospital? He-chan, is that what those pills are for?
Just listen, please. Shizune is the opposite of how I was. She has always wanted to draw people closer to her. That's the only reason Shizune was interested in me in the first place, I think. And I think I was determined to not let that happen in any way. Misha casts her eyes downwards, understanding perfectly. I never realized how hard that can be. And now, I feel like I'm going to return the favor, even if it takes twice as long. I already learned a second language just to get this far. It wasn't as hard as I thought, but it was definitely hard. Sometimes I feel like I was clawing my way up a mountain with how my hands hurt. And you did the same thing. And it was for the same reason, wasn't it? That's really amazing. Which is why it makes me sad, and a little angry that you would say a stupid thing like that. That's just what I believe anyway. Her shoulders slump, and Misha almost slides to the floor, like she's drained of all energy.
You're too dramatic, He-chan.
She says this while looking away, turning her head almost as if she wants to look out at the school grounds, but not turning it enough to do so. Insert wahaha here. The door behind us opens, the sound only barely able to be heard over the ambient breeze.
I've been looking everywhere for you two. Is this some secret meeting?
Gotta go back. Alright, Jen, thanks for stopping by. I hope the rest of the day isn't as annoying as the first part of it. Thanks. She walks over to us, leaning against the fence next to Misha, as if she needs to stop and catch her breath, before pushing herself off and continuing.
I'm bored sitting in the student council room every day now, without either of you ever coming by. Taking some time off is fine, but this is just too much.
Normally, Misha and I would be jokingly making excuses for ourselves at this point. This time, there's only silence. Shizune, always expecting resistance, is thrown off balance by the lack of it. A few seconds pass in uneasy silence, which Shizune breaks with an ear-shattering snap of her fingers, smiling as if to say, Eureka.
Let's go do something together.
Like what?
Anything. We should go to the student council room first, and then figure it out from there.
That seems like a trick to get us to do work instead.
Very funny.
Misha laughs, managing to let out a restrained wahaha. That Shizune can't see it makes me feel better. It means that it wasn't only for her benefit.
I was thinking you both actually could help me with something. What else is there? We can't go out to eat. We already ordered in yesterday, and that was already breaking policy. 3 days in a row would be unforgivable. But that was ordering in, Shi-chan. Going out to eat is different.
Yeah, totally different.
You're both kidding yourselves.
Before I can reply, Shizune grabs my hand, limiting my ability to do so. My options cut down so drastically, I have no choice but to settle for making a face at her instead. She makes one back, before extending her hand to Misha as well. When Misha is reluctant to take it, I walk forward as far as holding onto Shizune at the same time will allow me, and take her hand myself. She only has a second to smile before Shizune starts pulling us impatiently towards the door, binding us together like a human chain. Although it's dangerous, none of us seem to be thinking of letting go any step of the way through the school, out the doors, and across the grounds. Okay, I kind of like this. I like this of the three of them together. He's got his fingers intertwined with Shizune's because they're actually together as like a couple. While with Misha, he's just holding her hands like that, you know, just like full hand, just holding on. Because she's a good friend. So he's got that little more intimate hold with Shizune, even though I think she's the one to initiate it. And then he's got just the friendlier hold with Misha. That's sweet. Clearly, as much as he hated at the beginning, these two are really like his best friends now. This feels familiar, as if we've walked like this before. The three of us, hand in hand. Of course, the mood was a lot happier then. I can see the lingering sadness on their faces, but it makes me wonder if anything has really changed. This is all just a distraction or not. But I think it's just me slipping back into being cynical because of the moment. It's a start. Act 4. To my other self. And I am going to save here. Okay. So, that was all of Act 3 of Shizune's route, meaning next time we play this, we'll be into Act 4, the end game. So that was, a lot. So yeah, Misha's gay. That's just how it is. That's why there was no Misha route at all. So there's your 100 concrete answer. Misha likes women. That's just how it is. People have apparently tried to make the argument that she could be bi, but the writers have straight out said no. No, she's a lesbian. She likes women and only women. Also gotta hand it to Hisao. He didn't make a big deal of her being gay, which is nice. She said, "Oh, I didn't realize." Just kind of left it at that. There's no like, "Oh my god, that puts so many things into perspective." It's like, "Oh, you are? Huh." He doesn't see Misha any different for it. She's just Misha. Which is nice. Which is actually really, really nice. And as Jen said in the comments, yeah, it is quite a bit of a twist. So yeah, it makes her coming on to us kind of a little weird, in all honesty. And it was all for her benefit, I think, to try and get her to, you know, not hopefully get over her feelings of Shizune. Just trying to find exactly why she did it. There is a reason why. I'm trying to look up good old TV tropes here because they explain a bit. Okay, yeah. Alright, that helped clear it up. Yeah, she's just... As much as she was really shipping Hisao and Shizune together, it was just bringing up her past feelings and stuff really to a boil, making her feel really down and depressed. She just got so lonely, so she sees these two, I guess, happy together while she's just still left alone. She's watched the woman she loved be with somebody else, and it was hurting her inside. She got so lonely, she became so desperate, she went to Hisao, her friend, to try to have sex. Even though she knows she wouldn't enjoy it. She doesn't truly want it, she just pushed to a point she thought she needed it. It's actually pretty sad. Because you want them to be happy, and at the end of the day, Misha wants Shizune to be happy too. She just wants her to be happy. As much as it pains her, if she's happy with Hisao, then Misha is, in her own way, happy. It's a lot. Yeah. But hey, the whole time, Shizune is known. I mean, Misha's confessed to her in the past, turned her down. It's like, oh, yeah, no, I don't love you like that. But I still like you because you are my friend. So you could say, yeah, Misha got friend zoned, but who cares? Who the hell cares? Shizune still sees her as a really good friend. Treats her no different than anyone else. I like it. Anyway, I'm gonna call it there for today. So I've gone on for, long enough, I'd say. My usual 2 hours, and I am getting very, very hungry. As usual. Alright, so. Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, SD Gundam. So, gonna do another mission, potentially two, I'll see what's going on. More into Iron-Blooded Orphans. Oh god, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze again. That's 10 o'clock tomorrow. So I hope everybody has a good day. I thank you so very much for watching, commenting, lurking, all that fun stuff. I appreciate it. See y'all next time.